Hi, this is Lori, the MVM Farm Manager. You just saw Jake the cat and he taught me a lot of different things about farming. Put a plant that's in a pot like these ones into the ground. There's a couple of things you need to know. First, you want to make sure that your plants are hardened off, which means that you've given your plants a chance to get used to the outside elements in their pot before you put them into the ground. Once your plants have been sitting outside for about a week, they're ready to get transplanted into the ground. If you have drip irrigation like I do, you want to make sure that you're making your hole right next to the dripper, so that way your water is guaranteed to get to your plant. First step is make a hole. I like to use my hands, but of course you can use a tool if you want to. You want to make sure your hole is deep enough for your plant to fit in, but not too deep that it will cover up your plant if it's too small. Hole, and Jake knows that this is a really great time to add a little bit of plant root boosters if you can. I'm using worm castings that we've made with our worms. If you don't have worm castings, you could also use sea kelp. Both of these things enhance root growth. I'm sprinkling in just a little bit of worm castings, and now you really want to make sure that your hole is nice and wet. You never want your transplant soil to be more wet than the soil it goes into. And that's because water travels from areas of wetness towards areas of dryness. If you're planting a wet soil into dry soil, then the water from your plant is going to get sucked out, and we don't want that. So our hole is nice and wet. An easy way to get your plant out without hurting it is to gently squeeze the bottom, and you can tip it gently to the side or upside down to help it come out. And now we've got this plant, and as you can see, the roots are kind of bound up in this shape. You want to make sure that they don't stay that way, and you can do that by just gently breaking up the root ball. And this encourages the roots to grow outward instead of in that same shape. Now you just want to put your plant into the ground, into the hole that you've already made, and make sure that it gets completely covered up with soil all the way around it so that it doesn't dry out. Add a little bit more water, and your plant is good to go. It's best to do this in the early morning or in the evening, so that way your plant is not shocked by the heat of the day. Our little plant is planted and it's watered in, but you want to make sure that your plant gets lots of water for the first week or so after you've planted. This is a time when it's really fragile. It's getting used to its new surroundings, so make sure it doesn't have to worry about water, and water your new plantings every day.